to all of you and welcome to this podcast wherein we'll be having a very interactive discussion with the editorial board and the parish priest of the Chicalim Church. The coffee table book released to commemorate the quadricentennial celebrations, the 400 years of the Chicalim Church, titled Anchored in Faith from St. Bartholomew to St. Francis Xavier, is in fact a very historic and monumental work. And with us in discussion, we have the parish priest of St. Francis Xavier, Chicalim, Reverend Dr. Balmax Pereira, one of the editors, Assis Sequeira, Gustavo de Souza, also on the editorial board, A.M. Jose de Costa, and we also remember the other editorial members, Valeria Afonso, Jessica Wallace, and Martina Fernandez, who have also been part of curating and editing this work. Anchored in Faith is a wonderful documentation of the Chicalim village and parish. The transitions the village has gone through over the last 400 years has been very well documented in the 66 articles which have been compiled in this coffee table book titled Anchored in Faith. I have a few questions for those on the editorial board, especially for the parish priest, Reverend Dr. Balmax Pereira. Father, can you tell me the need and the urgency for having a book like this to commemorate this milestone year of your parish?
Well, Ines, first of all, this is the celebration of 400 years of Christian faith in Chicalim. The need to come out with this book has not surfaced just like that. It is a process that we have come through. In celebration of our 400 years of Christian faith in Chicalim, we decided to come out with the history, geography, ecology, religiosity, and the life of people in this beautiful village. And that is why we have the coffee table book. Secondly, it has a background of research. There were so many people or so many researchers who have approached us in this parish asking for the information about our church, information about the edifice itself, information about the people around. We tried to research, we tried to go into the things that are already written and we could find none. And then we felt that there is an urgent need that at this moment, when we have reached 400 years of Christian faith in Chicalim, we have to document everything that we have so beautifully in this village. And that is why we came out with this beautiful book, Anchored in Faith, from St. Bartholomew to St. Francis Xavier. Now, St. Bartholomew is our first patron. This is something beautiful of this village or this parish. We begin from St. Bartholomew as our patron saint, and then today we are with St. Francis Xavier as our patron saint. And why, how, that is documented in this book.
I think it's a very interesting thing that from St. Bartholomew, the name changed, and for a reason. So St. Bartholomew was an equally important saint, one of the disciples of Jesus. And then we have St. Francis Xavier, who is a very important saint for us Goans. And you have, and this parish is dedicated to St. Francis Xavier. A lot of questions arise as to why the name has changed. And I think many of the articles here have tried to and attempted to answer these questions. Am I right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Father Balmax, can you tell me whether the objectives and the aims that you had behind curating this entire coffee table book have been met after this publication has seen the light of day?
Well, once again I say this is a process. And as we go through the process, we are sure and we expect to meet all the objectives that we have set as we came out with this book. Right now, till today, after the celebration on 16th October, that is the day when the book was released, till now, we have received a great response, and we are really happy that we ventured out into something like this. When we started, we had no clue where we are going and how it will end. But till now, the response that we have received, we are really thrilled about it.
Thank you, Father. Father, I would like to go now to the editorial board here. We have two very important pillars of the editorial board. We have Asa Sequeira and we have Mr. Gustave D'Souza. I would like to ask them, Asis and Gustave, this is a question to both of you. What were the challenges that you faced in bringing out such an exotic book? Because having a coffee table book of this nature is not something simple and something that comes so easily. There are so many different aspects. There is the literature involved, the research involved, the finances involved, and the entire meticulous work of putting it together, compiling it together. What were the challenges you faced in this entire journey?
The first part I'll answer.
Yes.
Time. We formed the group, the editorial board, somewhere in the first week of June. And I said to myself, June, July, August, September, 4 months are not enough to make a book of this nature. I was skeptical from day one whether we would do this book. In fact, I suggested to Father also during the meeting, let's postpone this book launch somewhere in December. That would give us additional 2 months. But Father had that, I guess, confidence that we would be able to go to the book and, successfully release it. So within these 4 months, we had to collect articles from people who have their own specialized lines, disciplines on the various subjects, the photography, the collecting of the information, the data, most importantly, formatting it. And then, of course, going to the printer who would give us the work, the book or the proof within the desired time. But somehow we managed it. And to that, I think Assis and Valerie and James literally had to sit there for 8 to 9 hours proofreading word to word. So these were the challenges. And perhaps Assis will talk more on that.
Like Mr. Gustave has said, we started from zero. When we had the first meeting, we just had a plan. And we didn't have a printer or a publisher in mind, we didn't have a photographer in mind. It is all, like Father has said, it was a process and it came out very naturally. And we ourselves were surprised at the kind of, that we could meet the time frame, and we got this wonderful response from the people of the village, from the priests who have narrated their experiences, from the religious of the village who have given how they got the vocation, how they came with that, and also not alone the Christians, we also got a tremendous response from the non-Christians. They have given us articles on the temples, on the masjid, on their life, how they faced life in Chicalim, the people migrating here from Gujarat or from Kerala. They have all narrated their experiences and made this Chicalim, how Chicalim village is a tapestry of rich tapestry interwoven with different kinds of people of different faiths, of different languages, and how their cultures, how their cultures have intertwined, and what they carry, what they love about this village. The hills, the rivers, the fields, everything has been recorded in this book.
Thank you, Asis. I think you have brought together all these elements. Were these challenges stepping stones to a new kind of a success for this book, or did you feel weighed down by these challenges?
No, the challenges, in fact, are what makes the book a great work, because despite the challenges, people have come forward. They have given, even people who have not very lettered, they have given the articles in their own format, and they left it to us to edit and bring it in a format which is readable, which is relatable. And I'm very grateful that nobody had any limitations, or they did not have any fixed rigidity about what was to be published, what was to be printed. And moreover, we could get articles even from somebody who was 90 years old, 𝐸𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐸 Rodriguez. He from Margao, he has, although he is 90 plus, he made it a point to write for the book. We also have people who are may not be living in Chicalim as such, but they have also contributed because they love the village, they love the food in the village. There's an article on the hotels and the kind of food that you get here by a person who doesn't live in Chicalim. So these are the people who have contributed and made this book a lovely product.
Yes. Sis, we move now, thank you for that. We move now to Jose DaCosta. I think you all call him lovingly James. Okay. So James, I'd like to ask you a simple question. What does this book, Anchored in Faith, mean to you?
Well, it's all the articles that are put in the book. It's really throws the entire light on this village. All the things that have been there in the past, which it's well documented. For the newer generation, they going through this book, they will be enlightened with whatever is coming in, whatever was there, which is like something that like out of place now. But this, it's the history that is more important about that is coming into this book.
You can keep for a future generation.
Absolutely.
For the next 400 years.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Because they're going to look back at this documentation and maybe add something to it. Maybe a new version of this or a new edition of this. More additions could come over the period of time. Do you agree to that?
See, we have a very short period of time to compile this book. But yet we have done the best we could and we are here with this book now. But there could be more additions that could be made. And that's definitely something that they can look forward.
Thank you, Mr. DaCosta.
Well, Glynis, if I can just pop in over
yes,
here.
Father.
As I have said, this is a process. This book itself is a process. And why we have come out with it is, of course, so that the documentation remains. So it is not only for the next generation of this village, but there are many researchers who are today studying the architecture, who are today studying the history. For them also, we say that yes, here is the documentation about our village, Chicalim.
Yeah, and maybe this could serve as a model for other villages as well to be documented, because Chicalim parish has done this documentation. We can use this as a kind of a template perhaps, because we need this documentation to happen in every village of Goa. And it's a wonderful thing that this process, as we call it, has started in Chicalim, and we want this process to go elsewhere as well, not just restrict itself to Chicalim. Now let's get into the body of this book, into the content of this book. This book has almost 60 plus articles, and particularly the section 5 and the section 11 has got subsections to it. The section 5 deals with chapels in the village, again anchored in faith, harping on the main theme of anchoring the entire journey of faith of Chicalim through this parish. And the section 11 deals with priests, religious and the consecrated of Chicalim, again endorsing the theme of faith. Father, I would like to come to you. How important is this faith element? Because rooted in faith is yet another pastoral theme for us. How important is this to give to ensure that a title like this was significant for a coffee table book which you have come up with?
Well, when we started thinking about this book, we had our readers in our mind, our audience, to whom this book is going, and what do we want to tell those who are reading. We found out that this book is going to people of different faiths, people of different sections. It is not going to some small section of people. And that is why if we are beginning this book, or if we are coming out with this book, It is because of the 400 years of Christian faith, and we have to begin from there. So the faith-related aspects we can see in our churches and our chapels. We can see in the people who have responded to the call to this faith. So basically we say the priests and the nuns, the religious. Of course the families are bigger than that, and you will see a lot of family stories over here. It is not only about the religious people and the priests, but you will get more stories about the families. So entire community is rooted in faith, and that is why we begin with the church and the chapels and the people connected, that is priest and the nuns.
You have also managed to document the 400 years of the pastors who have been connected to this parish, which seems to be impossible, because I have seen this exercise which people have tried in other parishes and have failed. They have not managed to get the names because documents have not been in place for 400 years. It's no mean joke, because we have been with the Portuguese before 1961. And for 400 years, which means it has started from the Portuguese era. Yeah. So you have managed to have this. I mean, I wanted to mention how you have managed to get this data.
Well, it is a legacy. And as Goans, we have to take care of our legacy. As you have mentioned, yes, the books are missing, the records are missing. And in some places, they might not even be available. But there are some churches, and in Catholic Church, we have this beautiful, or something to be appreciated, the records that we have. And the records run down to 450 years and more from the time we have begun. There are other churches also, few churches of course. One of them is our church, but we did not have the documentation in place. So we had to go to the bishop's house, we had to go to the archives, we had to go to the people, because people know things which are not recorded. So some of the things that have come over here are not recorded anywhere. So first time they are being documented. This challenge of finding out all the pastors who have gone through, we had to refer to all our books, our registers. The names are there. You have to do a little work, a little research, and our editorial team has beautifully done that, researching through the documents that are available, but that are not, they are not published, or they have not yet come to light, but they are there. We have to research.
I think it is not a little research, Father, it's a lot of research, because 400 years is not something that can be researched over a short span of time. It's like 4 centuries. And that is amazing that you have managed to do so much of research. There are also perspectives from religious, like you have Sister Saviola, Brother Morris, Brother Arthur, Sister Lisa, who have given religious perspectives of the religious organizations and institutes which are, the different orders which are part of the Chicalim parish. We also have the parish priests who have given their own musings in this particular book. So from the point of view of faith, as the title goes, anchored in faith, a lot of perspectives related to faith are part of this book. So from faith, let us go to other perspectives which are also part of this coffee table book. There is a perspective of people who have come, settled here and adopted Chicalim and got adapted to Chicalim and its culture. Some of these immigrants include Grace Steagall, who has written a beautiful article on the survivor, where she has the German element which is brought into the culture of Chicalim and has got woven into the Chicalim fabric. We have a very beautiful article by Annie Pereira called A Delightful Destiny, which is worthy of reading. We have two Malayali perspectives, the Kerala perspectives of how Keralites have come, settled in Chicalim and have made Chicalim their home. That includes Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Mary, his article From Kerala to Goa, and yet another title From Onam Sweets to a Home in Chicalim by Santosh Vishwanathan. We also have an article of the Patels in Chicalim by Suresh Bhai Patel, which throws light on how settlers have come into Chicalim and have made Chicalim their home. I would like to ask Asis, how has this settlement into Chicalim enriched Chicalim for the good?
To have a historical perspective, about 65 years ago, the population of Chicalim was hardly 700 to 800 people. So it is more of the village as it is now consists largely of migrants from Goa and from outside Goa. We have been able to prod some of the people from outside Goa who have settled here to give insights on what is that attracted them to the village and what is that had kept them here, and sort of they have settled here. So there's this story of the German connection. They got marooned during the Second World War, and then he came and settled in Chicalim. And also it has a link with two German families besides Father Henry, who was mainly responsible for opening the Paloti home. So these are the three German families that have settled in this village. And the important thing about Mr. Tigger is that he brought a kind of German work ethic, which is something that we all admired as kids, the kind of hard-working ethic that the Germans had. That is what he gave to the village. The Patels, they brought the kind of the Gujarati, the business ethic, the industry, the hard working, how they came and settled in a place that was totally alien, and they put up a sawmill, and that sawmill ran very profitably, and still it is running at the moment. And also the Keralites who have come and settled here, how they have been like Colonel Joseph is very nostalgic of how Chicalim reminds her of her village in Kerala, the same greenery, the same hills and the valleys, and that is how she came to love the place. So all of them have contributed to the village, and they are all in love with the village.
Thank you, Asis. I think this is giving us a brilliant perspectives of the immigrants who have come and settled in Goa. There is also a very interesting theme that runs like a thread, a perennial motif through this work, is the nostalgia and the love for the past, the love for heritage, the love for architecture. We have the ideas positioned to the 60s and 70s, wherein there has been so much of change that has happened from pre-liberation to the aftermath of 1961. Some of the articles like those of Joseph Sequeira titled The Positive Impact of Liberation or Rovino Rodriguez's Where Did Our Postro Go? Or Fulgencio Rodriguez's Bogumalo musings are actually giving us a peek into this element of nostalgia which is permeating and resonating throughout the village of Chicalim. I would like to ask Father how heritage, history and nostalgia for the past is a very important element we need to be documenting nowadays.
Well, today we see everywhere everybody is going to the past. The reason why we went to our past is not to bring down somebody or to create any tensions. We just wanted to be, objective about our history. This is what we are. Accepting our history is one of the great steps for, for our development, future development. And that is why we felt that we have to go to our history, whether we like it or not. And of course, by God's blessing, all that we found about our village was something positive that has to be shared. So it has to be shared with today's generation so that they understand where to go next, how to preserve this heritage and how it is important, how the roots are important. And in order to know these roots, instead of getting carried away by some of the false propaganda that is going on today, which creates a lot of disturbances and puts the divide among us on the basis of religion, basis of caste, basis of who had settled from where. So keeping that in mind, my friend, we need to view this entire heritage that we have in one objective perspective, so that we read it, we know it, and we take those steps that build a community instead of dividing the communities.
Thank you, Father. I'd like to take this a little further by mentioning a very interesting article written by Asis Sequeira titled 𝐷𝑒 and Other Hill Secrets. Now, 𝐷𝑒 is a heritage element which was a monument which was built for people who would carry a lot of load on their heads, to place that load on the 𝐷𝑒. So the 𝐷𝑒, the load, and that monument, is it still existing in Chicalim?
I really don't know because I have not been there recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what are these hill secrets? Can you tell us in a nutshell?
This is like something that I recollected of my childhood in the village. Like my life has been mostly outside the village. I was here till my teens, and then I went to study outside, and for a little period when I was working, I was here. By and large, I've lived a lot in and out of the village. So this is the part of it when I was a child, and how we used to go on the hill, because my house happened to be on the bottom of the hill, and we explored. And this is something that I very nostalgic, because a large part of it is today no longer there. The hills have been taken over by the houses or the developments, and the kind of the trees, the wildlife that we experience as children is no longer there. So it is more of nostalgic view.
Nostalgic, and maybe there is a tinge of lament, a sadness that perhaps this could have been preserved, and you are trying to preserve it through words.
Yeah, that is true, because we are trying to convey to the generation who may not have seen, may not have the opportunity to see the kind of monuments and whatever trees which were there in the past. We just want to give them a peek into what it was like in the past.
Thank you, Asis, for giving us a perspective into this past element.
I would also like to say here that this book was like a two-way traffic for me. One way I conveyed what I had seen in my childhood to the generation, and also I learned, because there are a lot of stories about the musicians, about the sports people in the village, as on date, which I was not aware, so that was a learning for me. So it is a two-way experience for me personally.
Yeah. This book has much more than heritage. It has also a very eco-critical perspective, a perspective which throws light on the flora, the fauna, the farmers club. There's so many aspects to this book which is leaning towards ecology and environment, and giving us a subtle hint that we need to preserve and protect our environment. And considering that Father Walmax has been an eco-patriot, we know him as somebody who's very passionate about preserving and protecting the environment. I would like to ask this to Father, because he also has a doctorate in botany, that how significant was it to bring this ecological element, this environment angle to this book, and why do you think it is important for us to be eco-sensitive in our present times?
Well, I take from Asis his lament that the things are being vanished. The childhood that he saw is no more seen today. And the simple reason why he cannot see it today, and why his children and his children's children cannot see it today, is because the ecological sense was lost. And we focused on development that has been taught to us by mostly the politicians and the business people. For them, what is the development? In the bargain, we have lost our ecology, and that is why the lament.
So it is significant that you have to document.
So now from here onwards, when today's generation goes ahead with the development has become a plank for every elections also now. And people are, people want development. So what type of development should be there? Same type of development that today Ashish and his means the people of his time who are lamenting today for this development by losing the ecology of the village, and that is why that ecological sense has to come. And for which we thought that ecological heritage that we have, this Chicalim village is really a beautiful ecological, it is a heritage site. And soon, I'm glad to say on this podcast itself, we are going to get that tag of ecological heritage for Chicalim village. So, if this village is ecological heritage site itself, then we cannot miss it from this book. It has to be known and it has to be assimilated, it has to be understood, and it has to be lived daily by this generation. Otherwise, the little that is remaining of this village and little that is remaining of our beautiful Goa is going to be lost forever, and forever it is going to remain like Ashish's lament.
Okay. Thank you, Father. I think it's very important for us to be ecologically sensitive, and that sensitivity which you have brought through articles in this book are so significant. Tell us a little more about your Farmers Club. I'm sure our listeners and viewers are interested to know more about it.
Well, there are so many new things that have come, and the new things that have come from the ecological perspective, I see it as an attempt to preserve what we have lost, to get back what we have lost. And one of those initiatives is Chicalim Youth Farmers Club. I would say not just Chicalim Youth Farmers Club, we also have biodiversity crusaders as well, and other people who are sensitive to ecology. Now, why Chicalim Youth Farmers Club is significant? Not as Farmers Club who is interested in business or agricultural business as such. The Chicalim Youth Farmers Club, the youth perspective of this club is very, very important. Because today our youth have been directed in a way where they see the career, where they see the profit, and everybody is going behind profit by losing the heritage. Hence, something that we have in our roots is our agriculture. Youth coming back to agriculture is very, very significant and very, very important, because whatever development we might have, the habits of the stomach and the need of the body to be nourished is not going to change. We are never going to eat gold. We are never going to eat the concrete that is coming. We are never going to eat the money that is coming from selling the land. But for ages that are to come, we will always survive only on what we eat. And if we are not bothered about what we eat, then we are in danger. Hence, Chicalim Youth Farmers Club is coming together. It's an initiative. Once again, I would say this is also a process. It is not a finished product. We are struggling, we are coming up, we are building up the youth around this Chicalim Youth Farmers Club. And it is not just about Chicalim village and the youth of Chicalim. It is about all the youth around Goa.
Yes.
Every youth in Goa, we see them as Chicalim Youth Farmers Club. Everybody needs to come back to roots.
I think the youth of Chicalim have, with your, under your guidance and mentorship, have started this initiative of resuscitating the agrarian traditions and heritage of Chicalim village. But more than the agrarian traditions, I am also amazed by the way the biodiversity crusaders have resuscitated the linguistic heritage, the heritage of language through the 𝐷𝐷𝐻𝐻𝐻, the contest, which I think has been a trend-setting competition in the state of Goa. Just in a nutshell, can you elaborate on that?
Well, 𝐷𝐷𝐻𝐻𝐻, we began from the steps of this church. Our first, call to people to come and participate in this. We came out with 50 𝐷𝐷𝐻𝐻𝐻. Then we felt there are so many which we did not know. And then it went to another year and another year. So today, documented ones are at least 150 𝐷𝐷𝐻𝐻𝐻 of Goa that have come through this initiative. And when we go out in ecology, the heritage is already there in what was spoken and not written. So oral traditions are alive, and oral traditions have lot of this wisdom that has to come out. And that was the reason why we came out with this 𝐷𝐸𝐻, so that the oral tradition that was there, we used to say these things when we were children. Today's children don't know about the 𝐷𝐸𝐻. So that is why it needed to be a trend. And because it has the wisdom of Goa, it has the ecological wisdom, cultural wisdom, even financial wisdom, everything that is about life, it is have the wisdom of life. And hence this oral tradition had to come out in a big way, so we made it a competition that can go out not only to Goans, but all the people, especially all the Goans settled abroad, and the participants, if you see, who have participated in this competition.
Were all over Goa, including the diaspora in all the countries of the world. They participated in this, and because of this competition they realized what is a 𝐷𝐸𝐻. And for those who do not know what is a 𝐷𝐸𝐻 is another word for riddles, and our Konkani language has got so many riddles, so many some of us call it umani, 𝐷𝐸𝐻, that we need to document this. And I think the biocrusaders through the mentorship of Reverend Father 𝐲𝐻𝐻 have done a wonderful job in having this event. So this too has been documented in this book, and that is remarkable. All these achievements and happenings which I have gone through over the years, particularly after Father has been the parish priest in this village, have been documented in this book. As we come to the end of the discussion on this book, I would like to request James to tell us, if anybody wants to purchase this book, where and how do they purchase it?
Well, you can start from the church. It is available at the church office. Just some of the books shown in Panjim and Margao as well. And anybody can contact us directly if they have our numbers, and we can send it down to them.
Yeah. May I know the price of this book?
I just add to that. The books are kept at Broadway in Panjim, and very shortly we'll be having some outlets in Margao.
Yeah, and it's a round figure of 1,000 rupees, but it's worth it. It's worth much more, I would say, because this book has a very good finish of 224 pages with a wonderful cover and an editorial and a special message, editorial by the 6 members of the editorial team, and a wonderful introductory message by our auxiliary bishop of Goa and Daman, Reverend Simão P. Fernandes, as well as the Patriarch of the East Indies and the Cardinal Reverend Philip Neri Ferrão, who has also written at the beginning a wonderful message talking about the richness and heritage of Chicalim, and congratulating this entire venture of this coffee table book under the leadership of the parish priest Reverend Dr. 𝐷𝐸𝐻. So I urge you all to kindly come forward and purchase this book. In this podcast, we are going to write the details below of whom to contact and how you are going to contact and pick up this book. And let me assure you that this is worth having, worth purchasing, and for those who are researching on villages of Goa, this is a treasure chest to have. Let me conclude with one question to anyone here who is willing to answer. How does this book crystallize the twin objectives of faith and social action, particularly at the end of the annual pastoral theme of what Romans 5:5 says, faith does not disappoint us? Father?
Well, anchored in faith, from St. Bartholomew to St. Francis Xavier. As we have just spoken about this book, it is a wonderful book where It is not only about faith, but it is about life. And life without faith is dead. And the life that we have is carried forward with a glimpse on the past, with what is happening now and what we want to do ahead, what we want to achieve. And hence, faith does not disappoint us. We have a great future. We have so much to be cared for, taken care of. We have to take care of our faith. We have to take care of our ecology. We have to take care of our finances. We have to take care of our communities. We have to take care of our youth, our children, all business people who are in this village. And hence, faith is not something that is to be kept in the cupboard. Faith is something to be lived. And if we live the faith, here is what we have lived for last 400 years.
The book, a wonderful compendium of brilliant writers in and around Chicalim, and as well as outside Chicalim and abroad, who have contributed to this book. They are from varied backgrounds, secular as well as religious, talking about history, heritage, architecture, culture, sports, music, sports, clubs, schools, and the list is endless. You have this coffee table book in your home. You are having a treasure chest of knowledge about a village which is truly anchored in faith. And we hope and pray that Chicalim village becomes a role model for other villages in Goa to undertake a venture such as this. May we all remain anchored in faith. Thank you.